Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose, and today we're actually going to be looking at some Sam Kieth. As of this recording, Sam Kieth passed away last night. Unfortunately, I was a little busy today. I had started a video, but then I had to leave to go do some stuff, and so I decided, hey, I'm going to re record and start from scratch. So, we're going to look at a couple of things from him. Right now, we're going to start with Batman Confidential 40 through 43, which is a story known as Ghosts. So, Sam Kieth started writing and drawing his own projects, and Sam Kieth is one of those artists that is kind of surreal, and he burst into or bust into fame doing the Wolverine Blood Hungry on Marvel Comics Presents. I think it's 8 parts, 89. I I've covered them actually. Um but he really exploded to that. Then he went to Image Comics and then the Max. The Max kinda didn't, people, me included, it just wasn't my cup of tea. But he's very experimental. You can see here, this is when he sort of returns after the Max. He DC Comics basically lets him do his own stories, and that is, I think there's, and we're gonna look at it. There's a Hulk Wolverine that he did, and oh, there's another one thing that he did. He did a bunch of covers, and we'll look at some here in just a moment. But this story, I have to tell you, I have it, but I don't think I've ever really read it because I'm here for Sam. I'm not here for Sam the artist, I guess I should say. But even then, you sort of start looking at this and you're like, okay, you see Batman, but he's basically, as you see here, just standing around talking. There really hasn't been a lot, as you can tell, of actual Batman. Let's look at. I mean, Gordon's shoulders there are just. I don't. This is like Bill Sienkiewicz with more. I don't know. It's just it's surreal. Surreal is really the only way to describe Sam Kieth. Similar to Salvador Dali, it just um it's just different. But you know, I think all art is subjective. You know, and really, a lot of what I take from Sam Kieth is um his inking. Really, when he does, he's really good at spotting blacks. um and I like to look at other artists and see what is it that they do that I like, what they do that I don't like. um Comic books are a visual medium, and Batman is a very popular character, but Batman sort of walking around, sort of doing nothing, is a little bit I don't know. Like when you get a Batman book, you want to see him freaking kick some butt, and that isn't exactly what Sam Keith did in this story. So um, a lot of people like to see their heroes that they're used to like Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, things like that, um, do the stuff that they're used to. Now, when you are, um, this is sort of a story, as you saw there, sort of about bullying and it's the stuff that Sam likes to do. Um, anyway, so when you do one issue, it's okay. But when you're doing basically four issues of this here, where Batman is just standing there, he's really a backup character in this thing. But I mean, Batman has just, I mean, we're a few issues in, and Batman hasn't really done anything. So this isn't really a story that, even if I would have read it, and I'm just being honest, I didn't read it. I've never, it's kind of funny. I, as I mentioned, I own the issues, but I don't know. I just maybe tried reading a little bit, but I just remember I was just couldn't get into it. So, um, gosh, I should at least find out what this story is about, right? Okay, so I just went in and Googled what this story is, and so it says homeless men and women are turning up dead all over Gotham City. The only clue the killer has left behind is a yellow powder, sulfur. Batman soon encounters the murderer and is shocked to find that it truly seems to be a monster, a shapeless creature almost like a ghost. Soon, the man who stalks Gotham streets by night finds himself being stalked. Batman is haunted by the ghost who knows things about Bruce Wayne's past that no one besides his trusted butler, Alfred. Look at those shoulder pads, I'm telling you. um, anyway, Alfred could possibly know. Who is the mysterious murderer, and what can Batman do to stop the intangible apparition with a penchant for killing? So that's what that story was about. Now, this one is the Batman Lobo Deadly series. And Sam Kieth wrote and drew it himself as well. So this was a two-issue limited series that came out in 2007. A lot of this was very early uh, writing stuff. And what's happening here is that Batman is transported to an alien vessel by a mysterious figure, and he ends up asked to help cure a plague that has infected its inhabitants. Lobo, who is also there, finds himself in the same boat. Sorry, I this is a good. I kind of went quickly here. Anyway, so Batman, the Lobo is super strong. I don't know if this would work, but anyway, they're gonna be unlikely companions who must somehow find a way to work together and find out the real reason for their abductions, sort of before they kill each other. Now, um, it's just what Sam Keith wanted to do. So, and I love absolutely his inking and how he not so much the rendering of it, but when he inks, it's just a pleasure to watch. He's such an ink slinger, or was such an ink slinger. So he passed away yesterday, and he had dementia, which I didn't realize that at 63 he had a different kind of dementia, and I didn't know that that was possible at 63. I thought it you had to be like maybe in your mid to late 70s to get dementia. So hey, even I'm learning new things about it. So unfortunately, it just all these neurological diseases are just terrible. People just anyway. So he especially when you look at his Marvel Comics Presents and his early Max, it's really cool. It's just that he becomes, as I mentioned before, so surreal, so experimental. One thing I do love is those big Batman ears. Um, and this is the stuff that I like. So I really enjoy studying how he slings some of this ink, but still puts in like here's the abs, here's the chest, and I love that stuff. I just am a sucker for it. Um, so as I mentioned before, I'm more for the Sam Keith art than I am for these. It's really cool. He letters himself too. Um, the sound effects, I guess, not the word balloons here, but um, it's just neat, and part of the reason I like him so much is because of the Wolverine Marvel Comics Presents, where he met Cyber, and that was written by Peter David, and I just became a fan of him. Now I know he had done the Sandman, but I never was on the Sandman's boat when it first came out. I didn't really get the Aliens books that had come out, but it was his Wolverine um, Marvel Comics Presents. That's where I really um, noticed him and sort of became a fan. I picked up, I think, the first few issues of the Max, and then I bowed out. And then I was like, I don't get it. Um, so this one has definitely more action than the previous one that we covered. So, like I mentioned, so this is part two, and it's only two parts. So, Sam Keith, I think, how would you say, you either like him or hate him? But I don't think that art should be hated. I think art should be oops, I went the wrong way. See, I love this. I'm a big sucker for ink slingers here. Um Definitely some Bill Sienkiewicz here. Um, and that's the evolution of his art, because he wasn't quite as rigid as this. Anyway, um, I think all art is, although it's subjective, you shouldn't hate it because it's just not your cup of tea. You may have a preference, but it's really good to look at this. It's just that when you're in comic books, you're used to house styles. You're used to your John Romita, your well, then after John Romita and that style, then you've got your Walt Simonson, you get your Jim Lee, your Mark Silvestri, Bill Sienkiewicz, and people like Sam Keith are just different, very different. And so sometimes when you're looking at comic books, it almost looks too different here. Here, the same panel over and over. I don't know. But man, I like I said, I love me ink slinging. So I never read this. So I don't want to tell you that this is a good story or not a good story because I never read it. Um, even then, I was just like, I'm not. I don't know. It's like Todd McFarlane and Spawn. I'm interested in his art more so than I am interested in his uh, writing. Sorry, as I'm going through this here. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is so freaking cool. And this Batmobile sort of just looks, I don't know, looks pretty cool. It's just Sam Keith is just different, and so but every time an artist dies, I think it's sad to fans too, because he doesn't get to make the art anymore. So it's just, I don't know. It's people, it's a I should let me go back real quick because I love sort of the pencil or the dry brush that is just being employed here in the teeth. I just that's the stuff that I look at when I look at Sam Keith, just the little nuances that he has. But when celebrities of any kind die, it's not just their family that sort of feels the loss. Now, of course, their family are going to feel the loss a lot harder than you, but I think fans really do feel something there, because it's just, he doesn't get to make this art anymore, and so yeah, I always think that that's a little tragic here. Look at that. That is so surreal. He is so surreal. And so, yeah. And so this story's almost done here. And we're going to look at the Hulk. Actually, no, we're going to do another Batman story and then move to the Hulk here. Now, this one I have in trade paperback just like this. And this is actually not written by Sam Keith. Bruce Jones wrote this story, which deals, I believe, with the Mad Hatter. And so but Sam Keith is still sort of, this is still in the 2010s, so it's a lot of the similarities that you saw in the previous one. There's another one called Secrets. That was also, that one starts with the Joker, but it's a lot of Batman not punching, not kicking, not doing things. And as I mentioned, the art can drive people crazy if if you're not into this kind of art. And so I'm just kind of going through, and then we're gonna do the Hulk Wolverine next, and just call it a day. So in fact, we may only just do I don't know. I'll just do the whole thing. Like I said, it won't take too long to go through this. What do you guys think of Sam Keith? Are you just a fan of the Wolverine story? Because his art really, he becomes so experimental after that Wolverine Marvel Comics Presents, and I know he also did, I believe, number one. He did another thing through Marvel Comics Presents prior to then going into in the Max. But once he gets into the Max, he really, really, really changes into sort of this, and it's so much surrealism in these comic books that you may just go ugh, but again, I look at more than just the how that he composes the art. I really try to look at how he lays the blacks, because that's really what I'm into. I love ink slingers, and I love when people like, for example, Chris Samney, oh my gosh, Klaus Janson, Frank Miller, that kind of stuff, David Mazzucchelli, um, David, so in English people will say Aja, but it's Aha. Um, just people that lay a lot of blacks. Klaus Janson, goodness gracious. I'm trying to think of all these artists that I really, really like. Sean Phillips, who works a lot with Ed Brubaker. Um, and so people that lay in a lot of blacks, I just am a sucker for that. And as much as I love Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, I can't draw like them. I don't do a lot of the of Barry Windsor Smith, for example, who's the original that they sort of modeled. All that hatching, I just don't do a lot of hatching in my work. And so the way, even though I'm a huge fan and would love to draw like McFarlane, I can't. But I definitely love these ink slingers. And so Mike Mignola, whose very style is very different as well. Not a surrealist as this, more cubic. Um, I also love where he spots black. And so we're a little over halfway through here. Um, it's I got the trade paperback because I got it really cheap. Um, and I still don't think I read it. I just kind of looked, but with this one is more surrealist than anything than any of his other works, and so I don't know what to. I don't know. I think it distracted me at to a point where it was just becoming a little too comical. Plus, Batman sort of just standing there over and over. I just go. I can see, but this is the stuff he wanted to do. So, um, yeah, everybody's got their style, and he let me tell you, when he did the covers, I think he was a better cover artist than he was in doing the interiors. So, and Through the Looking Glass is, of course, a reference to Alice in Wonderland. So, anyway, so we got less than 20 pages. Or no, we got a little bit. Um, we're almost there. It's a five. So this was, I believe, a five-issue limited series, and so we're almost there. And then we'll get to the Hulk, Wolverine. Bruce Jones is mostly famous for a lot of those creepy and eerie stories. And when I say creepy and eerie, I mean the brand creepy and eerie, not that the stories were. But he is mostly like a horror writer, and so my goodness, it's like so close to Bill Sienkiewicz here, who's also a surrealist artist. And we're almost done. But yeah, and then after the Wolverine um, Hulk story, we will go and take a look at some of his covers. And so, Wolverine Hulk, which he really renders a lot of beautiful black and white on those covers. But this is again a very different kind of thing. Even though Wolverine and Hulk are there, this isn't your let's slash this up, and it's a much more um, it's similar to the other ones. So this is just one of these things that he does. So this isn't, like I said, this isn't Hulk smash. This isn't Wolverine. You know everything here. Wolverine, slash this, slash that, and so you sort of get you get more of this, but only with Hulk and Wolverine. So as I mentioned, that Wolverine blood hungry with Peter David, I have already covered before. But see, this is what I'm into. Look at that beautiful black. Look at that rendering. It's just amazing. This, I just love that. Look at that. He did everything there. The paintings he did. But then Richard Isanov, oh, he's also really, really good. He even there's this werewolf story. Maybe I'll do it next week. Um, as sort of like this, where it's a werewolf story called Scratch, but also features Batman. So, um, this is the most action that he's done. Look at that hair. That is just wow. It's just different things, and but man, does Sam Keith love the talkie talk. I've always, comic books are just a really neat medium where you can do all sorts of stuff. You can do your indies, which are, mostly talkie talks and drama and this like that. You can do your superheroes, and superheroes are really what most of us are into. Most of us that are, you know, with these channels and all that kind of stuff. And whether it's Marvel, DC, or Image, some people are into, like, I love the crime. I love Ed Brubaker. Um, he's one of my favorites. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips do these noir type crime stories. So, and if you notice, he's always got these kids as protagonists of some kind, or there's always something. Look at that black. This is, like I said. Um, I don't know if this is just something that he draws upon, trying to tell these stories. Um, Man, so surreal. Just, it's the only word I can come up with for his art. And so this is a four-issue limited series. So we're of course in issue number 3. So we have one more to go after this, and then we'll take a look at those at a little bit couple of those covers and call it a day. Yeah, just sad, since I started this channel, uh, Sam Keith, of course, John Cassidy, um, George Perez, Neil Adams, Sal Buscema. I'm trying to think who else we lost since I started the channel. Paul Neary, who's an inker for Alan Davis primarily. Um, Goodness gracious, I'm trying to think who else since I started the channel. And man, look at the he's got the little nose, of course, but look at how deep the shadow goes. That is I just that's the stuff that I see and I'm like, "Oh my god, that is so cool." And so, I like to just do a little couple of these every time somebody passes, and it's stuff that I really otherwise wouldn't show on the channel because I just don't think that enough people really would care. I mean, if I didn't even care enough to read it, I'm not going to expect you guys to care enough to watch the videos of something I haven't even read. But in this case, because we're doing an art looking at things, sorry, some of these double page spreads I just kind of go through quickly, and so there we go. And so I think it's a little different here when we're just looking at the art. Look at that, all that black. That's just gorgeous. And so, man, that is beautiful. And we got one more page. All right, so that is all the Sam Keith we're going to look at as far as the stories go. Now here we're just going to look at a couple of his covers that he has done. He's done a lot, so obviously not all of them, but this is the stuff that I think people really gravitated toward. This era here of Marvel Comics Presents. This 85, that was the beginning of, and people, this was just so different. So look at that. It's just, oh my goodness gracious. It's remarkable. Look at Lobo. Look at that. Just so cool. There we go. Look at that Spider-Man. He doesn't have a lot of Spider-Mans out there, but and so there we go. That is the last one. I think this was an unused cover because I don't remember seeing this one. So anyway, there we go. So rest in peace, Sam Keith. And so if you watch this, I hope you got to see a little Sam Keith and see kind of what made him so unique. So like and subscribe. I thank you for listening. Goodbye.